Black Ferns will also feel like they could well be in tonight's showpiece event. What a humdinger they played out against their rivals, the Australians. That last gasp, Maddie Levi try and nerveless Tia Hines conversion. The only reason that the Black Ferns aren't looking to make it 5 trophies in a row. Tyler King, she's been in so many of these big matches, but still just drinking it all in, absorbing the atmosphere and the tension. She thrives in these scenarios. 27 New Zealand wins, and then 1 for the Maples yesterday. Can they go about making a little bit more history? They're going to have to do so from deep, because King sent that to 5 meters shy of the Canadian try line. And an immediate penalty going the way of Canada, and time to welcome the woman alongside me, someone who knows a thing or two about playing sevens at the highest echelons of the sport. Philippa Tossiak, good evening.
Good evening. Gosh, I'm looking forward to this one. I know we saw this fixture, yesterday, but gosh, you know what? This could be a completely different game. Canada will want to take from the fact that they held on to possession. They made New Zealand really work for it. It was all Canada in the first half, but it was all New Zealand in the second half. So let's see how this pans out.
Well, they say don't poke the bear, and I wonder if Canadians actually know that better than most. If you rile the Black Ferns, you can expect vengeance. They will be licking their lips at the opportunity to restart that counter. And that's an immediate win there. You can see what that meant to Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe.
Yeah, you have to say New Zealand, since that loss, have really upped their game. They've looked like a different beast. They're always a fantastic outfit, but they certainly showed retaliation after that loss.
Bind. Set.
Swiftly from that scrum through the midfield, an uncharacteristic error. The ball just ricocheting off Mahina Pool's chest. Poole, who scored a belter against Australia early on to keep them in the fight after the Aussies have flown from the traps, but powerless there, gifting possession straight back to Canada, who thrive off set-piece ball.
Yeah, it's been their made-try sauce, hasn't it? They like the structured play. They've always got some kind of an organised move.
Crouch.
Piper Logan, who has enjoyed a meteoric ascent since joining the setup in 2022 as a 20-year-old, will feed this one. One scrum followed swiftly by another, and the try scorer against the Black Ferns yesterday sets off sniping down the short side. Corrigan is in there, a star of the 15s programme as well as the 7s, and fizzes it up and on through a pair of hands to Chloe Daniels. 3 try assists and counting this weekend, but no one's stats are as impressive as Charity Williams, who's got Michaela Blight to beat and does so. It's a collector's item as 6 chases 6. And Charity Williams, who has been in impeccable form, irresistible form in Madrid, has a 3rd for the weekend. She's only gone and beaten Blythe en route.
And there are not many people that can turn Michaela Blythe inside and out. That was time to perfection from Charity Williams. She had so much work to do there. That's exactly what you want from your winger. She is having a great tournament.
She struck against them yesterday, the side who'd reeled off 4 straight tournament wins to be crowned league winners in Singapore. I'll tell you what, we talk about enduring images from the 7s. There are so many iconic moments in this sport from over the years, and her at full time yesterday will be the lasting picture from that famous win. Daniels put such height and loft on that one. Corrigan is delighted to pounce upon it. Wondering if that had been not release. Well, the Black Ferns, who've got a penalty to flex here, and now it's with Elena Saili. Scampering infield, managed to get the offload away. A real flick of the wrist out the back of the hand. Found its intended recipient, and not finding her intended body in the midfield there was Kiara Wardley, which has allowed Mahina Poole to make amends for that earlier knock-on and scorch clear beneath the H. Try time for the Black Ferns.
Oh, Mahina Poole with the footwork. Awesome, the double step evades the first, leaves the second for dust. A little bit of magic to break open that Canadian back line.
Well, these are two sides in bright purple patches at the moment, and the tail of the tape really does back that up. A visit apiece to the 22s and a try apiece too. What's painful there, though, is that Canada have made one of their 3 attempted tackles so far, and they've each resulted in big gains for the Black Ferns.
Yeah, New Zealand have been incredibly clinical, haven't they, this tournament? 20 visits to the 22, resulting in 19 tries.
7 apiece, 2 minutes left of the half. I wonder if this will dish up some of the iconic moments that we witnessed yesterday when these two sides came up against one another. Music to the ears of the Canadians. They'll have the puss in here.
Do the one.
There was a time, Philippa, when we were so accustomed to seeing the Maples in these medal matches, reaching semi-finals, back when they were Olympic medalists, of course. The rebuild has been arduous, but it really feels as though it is coming to fruition under Jack Hanratty, and they're starting to see the fruits of all of that investment in youth and development and the cross-pollination between 15s and 7s.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there as well. Bigger training squads, they're sharing players now between 7s and 15s and sort of compiling all of their resources together so both squads can get the benefit from it.
And someone who's at the heart of that 15 side, Liv Apps, has it now. Apps, Grant and Bermudez involved against the Black Ferns in the Pacific Fort just a week or so ago, taking scalps right across the world in 15s and in 7s. Williams, this time Blythe made no mistake, grabbed her opposite number, dragged her down. Now Logan, scooping it right off her bootlaces, found herself isolated, managed to get the offload onto Daniels, but it's knocked on, so there's a scrum advantage going the way of the Black Ferns, who will have it pretty centrally. I sense that Woodman, Whitcliffe and Blythe are licking their lips right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm already seeing a difference between their earlier game. When New Zealand were in defence, they were soaking up tackles. Canada were always gaining a little bit of meterage. Here you're seeing more like a New Zealand defence. When they make a hit, they stifle you. They affect the play. They stop you from getting that offload away because you usually push backwards.
Coach. Bind. Set.
In she comes from Tyler King. Emerged so quickly from the base there, and now they get it onto Blythe, who by her lofty standards has had a quiet weekend, just the one try, but now she's up on the shoulder assisting. It's a 3v2 if they can just execute here. The Ferns, Setefano for the try. Well, if you've got those jinking hips, you don't need the extra woman on the wing. The Black Ferns have their second.
Lovely little out the door pass there from Michaela Blythe, and look, that second touch. She gets the ball away, she gets it back. Just the speed of ball and play that New Zealand have got there. Just enough to get in behind the Canadian defence.
The conversion attempt from King drifts agonisingly wide towards the inflatable shark in the stands as the two sides congregate. Plenty to discuss, no doubt. This one's been intriguing, but it is the Black Ferns who currently lead it by 12 points to 7. What a setting, what a fitting setting for our grand finals, and our winner takes all qualifier playoffs. The Estadio Civitas Metropolitano has served us very well this weekend, and yesterday it served up an absolute humdinger between these two sides, the team that finished first and the one that finished 5th in the regular season. A famous win for an inspired Canadian outfit who've got their hands full right now wrestling Michaela Blythe, who is a little agent of chaos once she gets going down and onto the grass. Here now is King, swerving, fixing, finding on her outside. Oh, it's wonderful, virtuosic work from Elena Saili, Georgia Miller-esque. with the way that she just left the Canadian defence flailing and had too much pace, too much power for all of them.
Her third try of the weekend, and it just goes to show when you make that contact, the benefit of pumping your legs keeps you alive, ready for the offload, but sometimes you can just get through the tackle as well. Sheer determination there, wasn't it? She was scoring that try.
Well, we've just mentioned her, but Georgia Miller is now on, waiting in the centre of the field. No doubt excited to rip into this one. Kicks a good one. So the gap swells to 12 as Saili tries now against the USA, Great Britain and Canada for her weekend's work. Heads to the bench with a big smile. So Miller on the field now. Still not a sniff of Stacey Walker, who broke the 100-try barrier in a Black Ferns jersey a little bit earlier on. And we've seen that kick before from King. It is deep and trickles right into the dead ball area where Corrigan says enough is enough. Liv Apps has it now. Such a youthful captain of this side, but a maturity beyond her years. Always seems to find the words.
Let's go now.
Never seems to make the wrong decision either. What will she select here? Well, it's running hard towards Setefano, who got the read and did manage to bring down an arcing Apps. Now this is Daniels, thinks that she's spied on a direct line. One of her forwards, Corrigan, up and onto Logan. Little stutter step back in field to Corrigan, who floors it. She's got King to beat and Miller, but gets the offload onto Logan, who is so tricky to bring down, so slender and speedy herself. This now, Hogan Rochester, who scored earlier on in the semi-final, right when they needed her to, getting a hoof to it.
Play on.
Is Jasmine Felix Hotham, but swiftest to react is Caroline Crosley, who's down at the base of that one. A desperate pass from Hogan Rochester out to Apps, who almost for a moment hurdled her opposite number.
Knocked on. You're illegal, Jackal.
The Black Ferns skipper.
Time's off. Subs. 12 and 11 subs.
Breathless stuff in this second half. Both sides
And
having
35
experienced and executed such swings, Philippa, over the course of the weekend. Will know that 12 points is nothing like enough of a buffer against their opponents here.
Oh no, absolutely. They need more than that. Canada can come back from this, especially in the position they are.
Time's on. Crouch. Bind.
Well, Canada dominated possession yesterday, and they've done the same again today. Just look at the number of tackles that the Black Ferns have been forced to make, and they're going to have to make another one now because Chloe Daniels has it. Almost NFL style, popped it through her legs, but instead opted for the more straightforward pass onto Shalaya Valenzuela, who is now onto the field. Corrigan to Apps, splashdown for Apps. Well, we've got a game on our hands. Canada have turned up to Madrid with absolutely no respect for the pedigree of the Black Ferns. They are loving life as giant slayers.
They certainly are, and it's the short line coming up from Olivia Apps that just catches them off guard. I think they were expecting them to play it away.
Comes off.
That short one-out carry was just enough.
The kick sails over Apps, just receiving a few running repairs in the gap. With 5 minutes remaining is a slender 5. King getting a little bit of attention, so we'll have a moment to get our breath back and perhaps Philippa get a little bit excited for our grand final, which is taking place in a few hours' time. Both France and Australia will feel thrilled and perhaps a bit relieved to be there, but they're big game teams.
They are big game teams, but you know what? That's just been the quality of the rugby this weekend. We could have named 4 different teams with absolutely good reasoning to have been in that final, but as it is Australia and France. France, they're building. Could this be their day? Who knows?
The best side on the series to have never won an event. Well, they're 14 minutes away from that now. How often this weekend we have talked about the number 14. It's been the difference between being a core series team next year and being relegated. It's been the difference between making grand finals and not. Apps rises up against the taller figure of Felix Hotham, and it is indeed the Black Ferns who have it now. Miller gets her hands on the ball for the first time, and having her hands on the ball for far too little a time was Tanika Wilson. She's knocked that on. Bronze on the line, Canada's ball to play with.
Yeah, Canada's ball and set-piece action as well, which we know they love so much.
Let's go.
Can we just talk about Georgia Miller for a moment, though? Because she's enacted 4 steals this weekend and is second in the tackle stats. That's not even to touch on her scoring prowess.
Yeah, and when you bear in mind that New Zealand have made 8 steals in total, she contributed to 50%. That's huge.
New Zealand's answer to the artful dodger, and now here she is, just scanning the backfield where she spots a desperate Liv Apps throwing the ball up and on to Charity Williams, but it was brilliantly read by Blythe, who hurdles her opposite number. Unperturbed, straight back onto her feet and allowing the Black Ferns to fizz it out wide, but it's infield that Felix Hotham is scampering now, and she's hauled down 2 metres shy. This is where they're lethal. This is where they've made it count on almost every opportunity this weekend. Bouncing ball to Blythe, Williams to beat. That will have felt good. So will that. Bumping fend. Miller with the whitewash within reach, and we know what she does when she gets even a sniff of a try-scoring opportunity. She doesn't see defenders, Georgia Miller. She sees gaps.
Well, for a moment there, you thought New Zealand had wasted their chance. They had a huge overlap, and it was a real scrappy pass that put an end to it. But they managed to find a way. They regrouped. They found Georgia Miller. When the step just looks so relaxed, so casual, yet it is so deadly.
It's the angle that she hits when she's changing direction. It's like watching a motorbike corner in a race. She goes beyond the acute, but just seems to opt out of gravity in those moments. 26-14. Black Ferns doing the damage in this second half.
Time's back on.
And it's their restart with less than a minute on this one. 40 seconds between them and a bronze medal. Another bit of silverware for their illustrious historic haul. Down the gullet there of Crossley. She's got Logan in support. Out it comes. Fancy Bermudez, the distributor here, hurtling up in the defensive line was Orisi Pori-Lane. A captain's tackle and clatter. Now this is Logan. Fancies her chances against Pori-Lane, and Miller grabs an extra couple of yards for a Canadian side who are railing against this New Zealand lead. Williams out to Daniels. This now Logan. On the drift is Felix Hotham, now flying up to make the tackle on Hogan Rochester. Brilliant juggling from Logan. Again, finds herself in a double tackle. Ball stays red. The result is beyond Canada at this stage, but they would love to have the final say in this one, to continue being a thorn in Kiwi sides here in Madrid. A thunderous chug from Bermudez, and an even more thunderous hit.
Just a knock in the tackle.
Michaela Blythe briefly slamming the soul from the body of Liv Apps in the midfield there, and it gets the job done, because that is full time, and that is the bronze medal for the Black Ferns. Back in business and reminding Canada just why that streak was 28 games long. It is bronze for the league winners and defending Olympic champions. They don't like being beaten, and they will have really enjoyed that. Canada, though, can be oh so proud of their weekend in Madrid. The rebuild continues, and they absolutely deserve to be considered contenders as they head to the City of Lights for the big one, the Olympic Games, in just a couple of months' time.